Hey, this is Scott Haase, and today I'm going to talk to you about weighted balls and whether or not I believe in them or use them. So, this right here, if you've ever heard of it, it's a weighted ball. It's white, it's red, it's got laces. It's about anywhere from like 5 to 5.5 ounces. It's called a baseball. This, my friends, is a weighted ball. Don't forget that, because when you hear someone say that weighted balls are bad, they're probably not talking about a baseball, but remember that a baseball is weighted too. So before you make your opinion on whether or not they're good or bad, just remember you're always throwing something that's weighted. So that's number one. Sorry, I showed you the hidden goods. Number two, this is a softball. This is also a weighted ball that some people will throw. Number three, this is a underload baseball, meaning it is lighter. So regulation is about 5 ounces for baseball. This one is 4 ounces right here. There's different variations. This one is from Driveline Baseball. We do use their products. Next one is also from Driveline. This is an oversized baseball. So it's actually just bigger. It's just a bigger baseball. So this is another variation of a weighted baseball. And last but not least, this is a plyo ball. So it is red. There's sand filled in it. There's a ton of different variations of these. A lot of different companies now are making the plyo sand-filled balls or a bunch of different other balls. But this one is also another implement. It's squishy, so you can squish it. It's got sand. When they burst and pop when they're done, it come out here. But this is also a weighted ball. So all that to tell you that when you hear the term on Twitter or YouTube or wherever it is, or hear someone talking about it, they may be talking about something completely different. Some people think that these are weighted balls, and they're the only weighted balls. They don't take into consideration all the other ones. So I just want to make sure that everyone is clear that there's a bunch of different weighted balls, different uses. So first of all, do we use them? Yes. We use all of them in some variation. Second of all, do I believe in them? Yes. Lastly, what are they used for? So each one has a different purpose. And then we'll get into also how do you best use them. So these ones, you can throw for velocity, you can throw for feel. What is a super good introductory way of using the plyo ones is to get your drill work in where you can't throw very far, or for some guys that maybe can't throw a lot of strikes with a baseball, this feels different than a baseball. It's the same size for the most part, so it's got a similar feel, but it's different. So your mind sometimes can play a little bit of trick on you and you feel less stress. So if you're stressed when you throw a baseball, you shouldn't feel stressed when you're throwing this. So this is really good for that. The next one is going to be the undersize. What is this good for? A couple different things. You can actually train your body to move faster, which is good. Some guys haven't ever thought of moving faster, so this is a good idea. It's 4 ounces. It's a little bit lighter, so your arm is going to go faster. Also, for command, trying to throw strikes. If you can't throw a strike with a fastball, or excuse me, a normal baseball, sometimes changing the size of it can increase your feel. So now you've challenged yourself with a 4 ounce and a 5 ounce and maybe a 6 ounce. Once you get really good at throwing different sizes, it just makes sense that now you'd be really good if you're only throwing one size all the time. So that's some of the reasons for one of those. Similar with an oversized baseball, if you can throw a bigger ball, like a softball, so it'd be the same thing with a softball, a bigger ball, a smaller ball, and a regular ball, all for strikes because you've done a ton of work and practice with it, then it should be, in theory, easier to throw just the same size ball, the same weighted ball, and you'll be good there. Then with your baseball, it's just your old faithful. You're throwing a baseball, doing that. So a bunch of different variations, a bunch of different types of balls. How to do it safest, it's like with everything else. If you got your nutrition, and this is super not sexy at all. If you got your nutrition, your hydration, your sleep, and your stress, and your exercise, your workouts, your body all taken care of, that's when it's most safe. So, do we use these? Yes. Do we use them often? Not really. We use a lot of baseball. We do use the plyo ball, but similar to the weight of a baseball, just for the different feel. But when it comes to guys trying to throw harder or something that might allow them to throw harder, we actually make them jump through hoops. So this is probably the most important part of the video. You need to be jumping through hoops to be able to achieve or get the right to be able to throw a different sized ball or a ball that might make you throw harder. Because if you're not strong enough, if your hydration, your nutrition and stress and all those levels aren't up to par, you haven't earned the right to be able to throw a ball that could potentially cause more stress that you're not used to and put you in harm's way. So is there a safety concern with weighted balls? Yep. Does that also consider or take into consideration baseballs? Yep. So there's a safety concern with all of them. So your best bet is to take care of all those factors, make sure all your buckets are full so that you then earn the right. And also, we don't have a lot of guys that are trying to throw harder with the smaller ones, do that until they're at an older age. We prefer for it to be post-puberty, which means like after you go through puberty, when you're in your later teen years, that's when you can do it. Because there's just a lot of things where guys, when they go through puberty, are kind of awkward, not in control of their body. So they could have everything else filled for their buckets, but they just aren't going to do a good job with controlling their body because they're going through puberty and growing. Younger guys, they're more susceptible to injury with throwing a baseball alone just really hard, so we try to keep that simple. Now our older guys, we have guys that are big, strong, fast, and are just dudes, but if their sleep, their hydration, their stress, their nutrition, and their exercise aren't up to par, we put some pretty high standards, we don't let them throw, and they get frustrated because they, I want to throw the ball hard, I want to throw it on the gun. We want you to too, that's fun, but we got to make sure everything else is in line. And then lastly, another hoop that we make them jump through is they got to be passed mechanically. They got to be cleared. If they don't move well in the first place, they also have not earned the right to be able to throw any other type of fun weighted ball or something that could light up a radar gun, but also put them at risk for injury if they haven't earned that right by moving well.